Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Whatever the I Want podcast, where I, your host, Gabby, get to talk about whatever the I want. Well, still trying to get the hang of everything. But today's episode is going to be about New Year's resolutions. Alrighty, so I brought my old vision board for those who have not seen it yet. I've posted it on TikTok. And for those who are simply listening, it's just this basically it's this giant board that has like a collage of pictures. And I actually did accomplish quite a bit that was on this board. They always say you're supposed to have like your vision board hung up, and mine was hung up for a while, but eventually it ended up getting taken down. And I would still look at it occasionally. Weirdly enough, I did notice that the cat that I had on here, because I wanted to manifest a cat, actually looks kind of like Miko, which I did not expect. For those who don't know, Miko was adopted. He's my kitty cat, and he is a Gemini. I made this whole post for him and never ended up posting it, so I really should, because the gram deserves to see him. TikTok's already seen him. I've hard launched him on there, but you know, the whole world deserves to see this beautiful little bean. And yeah, basically, for those who don't know, I've also been really wanting to do van life. That is something that has been calling me for a while. I really want to do something very nomadic. Obviously, some of the things that happened on this vision board, some of the things that are on this vision board have not happened yet, but they are still things that I see like in happening at some point in my life. So yeah, basically the goal of this board was just to get hot, and I feel like I've definitely become way more confident in my skin, and I'm just really excited just to continue finding myself, because like I said, I feel like I'm coming to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna be so random, but you know, when your brain fully develops, like I was telling one of my friends, like when your brain fully develops, you kind of just feel like somebody splashed water on your face. Like you just feel like you woke up. And that's exactly what turning 25 felt like to me. And it's crazy to have seen, like, you know, my sister's brain develop, and like some of my best friends, like seeing their brains develop. You're kind of like, you're a completely different person once that frontal cortex be developed. And I can thankfully say that I'm a completely different person as the years go by. I feel like I'm only getting better and better. And so back to New Year's resolutions. I need to have a bullet point list or something. I'm still trying to get this set up. You know, the PC's over here, the Go XLR's here to the bottom. I'm, you know, still trying to figure out the easiest flow of things for me. But, you know, learning curves, we getting through them. So I'm not going to show you all my entire bingo card, but this year I made a 2025 bingo card. And I had this idea of this podcast for a while. I actually had all the visuals and everything for it at the end of 2024, and I was like, I'm gonna launch it in December, and it's before the new year, it's gonna be launched, and blah blah blah. And then I don't know like what ended up. Oh, you know what happened? I got sick. I got really sick. Like I, after 75 hard, was just like super exhausted from having traveled to Mexico with my family, and you know, the lack of sleep, the time change, like everything was just like getting to me. Like traveling, there was no time change. I'm out here lying, you know, there was no time change for me. There was a time change for my family, but you know, like traveling, jet lag, like all that stuff, like really took a beating on me. Like my entire plane ride from Mexico back to the States was me like being so congested and gross. And thank God nobody was sitting next to me. It actually manifested. I'm like, I want a whole row to myself. And I was like, I'm going to manifest a whole row to myself going to Mexico, right? Like I've been trying to manifest like a whole row to myself for a while now, and I wasn't getting it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like when am I going to get this row to myself? And crazy enough, I got a whole row to myself when I was like disgustingly sick. Like I would have felt bad if anybody was sitting next to me, because it would have just been like a snot parade. Sorry, not sorry. So anywho, on my bingo card, I ended up putting some things that like I knew that I wanted to accomplish in 2024, and that I had already made the plans to start doing but I hadn't necessarily officially completed. So one of them was to launch this podcast. So now I can cross that off of my 2025 bingo list. You got to make sure that you have goals that you also feel like you can achieve. It's important to obviously aim for the stars. Think big, babe. Like, don't play small. But again, like, action has to be put behind these things. I mentioned this in one of my TikToks. Action has to be put behind your vision board. I did not know these things for a very long time. And so now I'm like, oh, I actually got to try. This is crazy. I can't just like manifest being hot and then I'm like not, doing my squats. Like, I got to go to the gym. And also like, it just makes you feel good to take care of yourself. Like, we're all naturally born hot. Don't get me wrong. But, look good, feel good. Like, I don't wear makeup frequently, but going to the gym makes me feel really good. Being able to finish a book, like, hot. She can read, period. She's an intellectual. Like, sometimes it's like even just washing your hair, diffusing it, using a Denman brush. Like, sometimes it's the little things that really make you feel good. Like, even if it's just curling your lashes every day, that is something that makes me feel good. So other ones that I'm willing to share are finishing some vlogs. So I mentioned in my previous podcast that I have a lot of content that I haven't completely finished or even touched some of it. And one of them is a vlog to Bogota. I haven't started on it yet, but I'm letting y'all know at some point in this year, I will be releasing that vlog. I did vlog it. I had bought these Rode mics for it, the ones that you've seen in my TikToks. If you haven't seen my TikToks, my personal TikTok is @YoFabGab. That's all my personal social media. So yeah, that's one thing that I want to do. I also want to read the books that I own. So I do have it's technically called the Amazon Fire, but it's essentially like a Kindle, like tablet thing that my mom got years and years and years ago. I've had it since my freshman year of college, I want to say. Yeah, I would say my freshman year. And I recently pulled it out and I was like, it still works, period. But it took so long to get like a book actually working on there. I can't even begin to tell you like the headache that it was giving me. It took me like 3 days to finally be able to read Master of Me on it. Fantastic book by Kiki Palmer. I can do a whole podcast episode about that book. I even like, highlighted anecdotes that I really related to, and she just is such a phenomenal author. I just felt like I was talking to my homegirl, and well, I guess she was talking to me because I wasn't really talking to her. Another one is let's see what I want to share. Okay, so on top of like finishing the books that I own, oh girl, that's where we were, my brain. So I want to finish the books that I own. So I have like probably like 4 or 5 books that I physically own that I haven't read yet. I'm going through one of them right now. It's called The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. It's a thriller. So I want to finish those books before even trying to buy any other ones. But I also want to prioritize Libby. So goal first is to finish my owned books, and then from there try to like I'm trying to minimize my waste, y'all. So, and like my carbon footprint, and sometimes it's doing it with the things that you love, and some of that is reading, like. But then these paper companies need to be kept in business. Like, it's just all these little people in my brain. They're like, but what about this? But what about that? What about this? What about that? And it's like, oh, it's exhausting. So yeah, I want to finish the books that I own, and I'm on the right track. Last year, my goal was to read 12 books. This year, I'm not putting a number on it. It's just finish the ones that I own, and we'll move on from there. Another one that is super realistic and that I want to do is to visit Wisconsin. I literally live so close to Wisconsin and I've never been. Why? And I'm a cheese lover. I am a cheese lover, a cheese whore, if you will, a cheese slut. Cheese it up, baby. And I haven't been. And for those that don't know, I had quit drinking for the year last year. It's not necessarily my goal to quit drinking for this year. I just haven't had a drink. I haven't had the desire to have a drink yet. And I don't know if it will ever hit me, but if it does, I mean, it's like, oh, I could go to a brewery or to a vineyard and I can, enjoy alcohol. last year I had given up. Again, could do a whole podcast episode about that. Yo, I was trying to sleep last night and I was just like so excited. And, I think the blue light from the screen and all this editing and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't sleep. And then I'm like, I should record an episode. And then I'm like, oh, and I have an episode about this and I can talk about this and I can talk about that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have my whole life to spill for all of y'all. I gotta catch all up on 27 years of my life. Where do I start? That's truthfully how it feels. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can talk about this. I'm just like really, really excited about this podcast. So one of them is visiting Wisconsin. And another one is okay, this is a cool one. This is a fun one. To do a thrift flip. I really want to thrift something and completely change it. I don't know if you've seen some of the people on TikTok that are like, I bought this giant t-shirt and then they turn it into like this cute little outfit. I brought back up my sewing machine. Like I've been working on some projects and I really need to sit this weekend and grind out some things because I have like a due date for myself because some of them are for an event that I'm going to. So, I want to do a thrift flip and want to sew more, things like that. I won't share them all with you because y'all nosy asses. No, I'm not going to share them all with you because I don't know. Some of them just sound like so big and scary. And I'm like, oh my God, is this even possible? Like, I'm nowhere near this goal that I want to achieve by the end of the year. Like, I'm like a kindergartner, I'm not advanced at all. And I'm shooting for very, very advanced type of goals. But I will say I have had some, I guess, quotes that I want to abide by this year. And the biggest one being is create more, consume less. I have been hearing this from like everybody, and it's also been a takeaway from a book called The Artist's Way that I've been working through. I honestly should have finished it by now, but it's something that it's like a book about weekly topics that you have to go through and you have to get over your creative blocks and yada, yada, yada. Again, I could do a whole episode about that. But it's a very intense book where you basically try to get over yourself. And I've really reminded myself of my whys because I think you just get so caught up in the analytics, especially like having worked in the industry for so long. It's like, what are the numbers looking like? What are these advertisements doing? Are we making numbers? And I'm like, that's sales. I'm marketing. I'm just supposed to make stuff look cute. I don't care about the numbers. It looks cute. I did my job, but then you have these companies that are like, you're in marketing, you're the social media manager, you're having to do the advertisements, you're in charge of sales, you're doing wholesale, you're doing retail. Guess what? You're now doing the email blast. And then you're wearing so many hats. And all my marketing girlies can relate. You wear so many hats that it just becomes so draining. Like social media started to become something that I literally hated. I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm so tired of looking at Instagram. Like, fuck Instagram. And then I started like being hard on myself with my stuff. I'm like, oh, Gabby, your analytics and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it didn't become fun anymore. And so that's something that I'm trying to work on is like treating myself to social media. So back to the create more, consume less. I'm spending way more time on me and on the things that truly bring me joy. Don't get me wrong. I love sitting there and scrolling. I have fun. But it's not productive for the life that I want. And it's not productive for my soul. My soul wants to sit here and record and edit. And I used to love staying up hours and editing on Premiere. And, now I'm learning color grading and lighting. And I'm learning all these things. And like, I lost it. I lost that touch, that love, that passion. And so now I'm like, no more love for these companies because like you sign your life away to a job. You're like, life sucks because of this job, and it's like life doesn't have to suck because of that job. You have to find joy in your daily life, create joy. And so I put a timer on my phone for an hour of social media, and it's been really good so far. I mean, there are days where I don't even hit it. There are days where I'm like, extend to 15 minutes, but I will say it is because I'm working. Like I was editing a TikTok within the app. So naturally it wastes that time, or not waste, it uses it. So I'm just trying to be more proactive, more productive, more consistent. I'm just really, really trying to hone in to who I am, to my passions, and really trying to fill my cup. So I've been crocheting more, I've been sewing more, I've been editing. I'm launching I launched this podcast, and there's other creative projects that like I have goals to accomplish by the end of the year. And okay, so I'll say one of them. Ooh, scary. I want to play an instrument. Like, I want to be able to play an instrument. I have a ukulele. My brother got me a ukulele for Secret Santa one year, and literally in college. And I, spent some time learning, but I truthfully couldn't play you a song. Like, strumming is what I really struggle with. But no, I want to know at least a fucking song by the end of the year. Like, I want to be able to sing you Kumbaya, or, like, name another cute ukulele song. I want to be on a beach in Hawaii playing the ukulele, or I want to be traveling in my little van playing the ukulele. Like, that's what I really want for myself. So I gotta learn how to play it. So I've looked up music lessons around me. I haven't bitten the bullet of like taking one. I am definitely a hands-on learner. So like watching these YouTube tutorials, like I can get somewhere, but it's not as easy for me. I am a self-taught crocheter, and watching YouTube videos for that like hurt my brain. But I spent one day like, I'm gonna fucking learn how to crochet. I'm gonna make it happen. I had this like little kit that my mom and I thrifted, and it was underneath my bed for the longest time. And then I was crazy. You get inspired by love. That's what I get inspired by. So there was somebody that I was dating, and I was like, oh, I really want to crochet them something for I think it was our anniversary. So I really want to crochet them something. And I ended up having to recrochet it like probably 2-3 different times to finally get to the outcome that I was still not happy with. But I look back and I'm like, oh, it really wasn't that bad. And my niece is starting to crochet, and she's like, that's really good for your first time. And I'm like, you're just so hard on yourself as an artist. Working on that. Lots of things we're working on this year. So I don't even know where it was at with this. Oh, playing the ukulele. Yeah, I want to learn how to play an instrument. And it's okay to have like really, really big goals. It sounds like really big and scary, and it kind of is. This was really big and scary, but here we are, So it's not impossible. I think oftentimes we convince ourselves that things are impossible. It's impossible for me to start going to the gym regularly. It's impossible for me to be a little Pilates princess. It's impossible for me to start this one hobby that I'm interested in. And it's not impossible. Many people have done it before you. Like, get off your high horse. Like, other people have done it, like it's not, it's been proven that it can be done. What makes you think that you're any different, And I saw a video once talking about Luke Combs. For those who don't know, he's a country artist. I love country music. He has a beautiful voice. Luke Combs taught himself how to play guitar later on in life. I believe he was in his 20s when he learned. And now he's a well-known country artist with the voice of an angel. And Ed Sheeran like started off writing songs for other people. And now he has his own albums. So it's like there are things that we have to do just to, I guess, dip our toes in the water before we're ready to just like dive right in. And for me, that's playing the ukulele, it's just dipping my toes in the water. I'm not committing to anything super crazy, I just want to dabble into it. But I mean, I really think it's going to be something that like I completely obsess over. And I mean, how cool is that to be able to play an instrument? Like, I think that's so cool. And just to be like, yeah, who wants to hear a song? Like, I'm going to be one of those people that like takes your instrument with you everywhere. I'm going to be going to the campfire with my ukulele. I'm going to be heading to mass with my ukulele. I only really go with my family. I don't go to mass on my own. But if you were my parents, I'd probably be like, Gabby, you should go to mass. Anywho. Yeah, I'm gonna be one of those people who's obnoxiously walking around my ukulele. I'm gonna be like, you want to hear a song? Because I think it's so cool when people are like, oh, like they just hear something and they're like they're able to tune things and just listen. And like to have that ear, I think that is like so freaking cool. Gone off on a massive tangent about New Year's resolutions. but they kind of connect in some way. So yeah, what are some New Year's resolutions that you think are really big and wild and they just seem impossible to you, but they're low-key still on your list? I want to hear what some of yours are. I did share some of mine. So, not saying you have to share, but I want you to know that I was vulnerable. So you're more than welcome to be vulnerable with me too. This is a safe space for everyone. And with that, that is the end of the second episode of this podcast. We're out here making moves, y'all. Episodes, new episodes every Monday and Friday. It was originally just going to be once a week, but I was like, literally like the day before I launched the podcast, I was like, I should do it twice a week. I should really dive into this. Like, no more dipping your toes. You're jumping right in. And so that's what's happened. I've completely jumped right in. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. I appreciate you. Happy New Year's. I haven't said it officially. So happy New Year's to you all. I'll catch you in the next one.